Parsley is rich in antioxidants, high in vitamin C. It has anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties. I grow my own parsley from seed on the kitchen windowsill. So all you're interested in is the liquid really that's left behind. So can you imagine how cooling that is? If your face is feeling irritated, this is just, I mean, it's feeling wonderful on my hands actually. So what you would do with this is obviously strain it just in case any of the parsley leaves come through with that. And you can see it's got a real clarity about it. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel today. As part of my series on using herbs in self-care, I would like to focus on using one of the most common herbs, parsley. This herb I feel is quite underrated. Although we use it a lot in cooking and adding it to salads, the benefits of using it in home care beauty products is less well known. Parsley is rich in antioxidants, high in vitamin C. It has anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties. It can help to brighten your skin and cleanse and hydrate it as well. So I would like to demonstrate a few ideas that you can use parsley to make and really extract the benefits of parsley. And this is really relating to products that might cost you quite a lot of money. What I'd also like to introduce you to is parsley tea. This one always surprises people at how good it actually tastes. As always with herbs, especially if you're going to use them concentrated on the skin, do a patch test on your skin just to check for any possible reaction or irritation. That is unusual with parsley, but when you're using it concentrated like this, you never know. So what I first of all want to show you is obviously what parsley looks like. I'm sure many of us have seen parsley around. So what I've done is I've brought in my outdoor parsley that I grow hooked onto the fence outside my back door. It's looking a bit wilted because it rained last night and it's still recovering, so it's still a bit damp. Now, if you do decide to use your outdoor parsley for beauty products, the one thing you've got to be really cautious of is the amount of dirt and insects that you can bring in on the leaves of the parsley. So if you are going to use your outdoor parsley, then you need to thoroughly wash it, probably a number of times, to make sure that you get rid of all that before you use it as ingredients for beauty products. What I also do, I've got one demonstrated here, is I grow my own parsley from seed on the kitchen windowsill, and it always works really well. So this is the one that I tend to use for beauty products more than my outdoor one, and I tend to use the outdoor one in cooking. So that brings me to my first demonstration, which is a parsley toner that I'd like to share with you. So to do this, you need to start with a handful of parsley, and the one that I'm going to use here is flat leaf parsley. So you'll see it's slightly different to the curly parsley that is here. It has a slightly more subtle fragrance if you're using it in cooking, but for beauty products either is perfectly okay. So what you want to do is literally just chop this quite roughly. Now I'm not using a herb cutter for this because that tends to get it too fine for what you want to use it for. But even with this, the smell is just wonderful in terms of chopping herbs. The smell always seems to relax me somehow. Once that herb oil is released, you can really smell that. So I'll put this to one side for a moment because this is probably enough. So what you want to do is just pop that back into the bowl, and then what you would do with this is you would pour boiling water over this. If you're doing this with children, obviously be very careful and keep the boiled water well away from them. But once you've covered it with boiled water, then put that to one side and leave it to cool for about half an hour. So I'm just going to put this to one side. So what I've got here is some that I made earlier. Okay, so I'm just going to get my second jug ready for this. So all you're interested in is the liquid really that's left behind. So take that out of that. So that's your clear cooled parsley liquid. And then to this, what you want to add is a teaspoon of fresh lemon juice, and that really helps with brightening your skin. Need a bigger table. And then what I would also add is a teaspoon of honey. And the honey is for hydration. And let that dissolve in. Give it a good stir. And then just for ease of use, what I tend to do is use these travel bottles. Now they are plastic, so some people say that you should put beauty products like this in glass jars. It's personal preference, so whatever you're comfortable with. Actually, we don't need our funnel because we can just pour that in. So what you would do is just spray this onto a cotton pad. And just treat it as you normally would one of your expensive toners. I'll just practice that on my hand. So I've got some muck there. And it is very refreshing to use. And you can keep that in the fridge for around about 2 weeks. An alternative to the lemon juice and honey is that you can take your cooled parsley water and add in some apple cider vinegar, some lemon juice, and some green tea. And what that produces is a slightly more powerful toner, which is still not full of harsh chemicals, but it has a slightly more astringent feel. So I'm just going to clear this away so that I get ready for the next demonstration, which is a parsley face mask. So my second demonstration is a parsley face mask. So parsley is very rich, as I said, in vitamins and antioxidants, which is really helpful for improving your skin tone. It's antibacterial and anti-inflammatory, which means it can really help to reduce any inflammation you've got on your skin and any breakouts. And it really helps to cool irritated skin. Sometimes you've just got that area that really feels quite itchy and uncomfortable, and parsley can really help reduce that irritation. So you again need to take a bunch of parsley leaves and chop them. So this is left over from our first chopping session. And then what you would do is actually put this into a food processor with a little bit of water. Now you need quite a lot of parsley, and be careful how much water you add. It does turn to liquid quite quickly, so keep an eye on it. And then obviously if it becomes too thin, then add some more parsley in. But it's better to put less water, and otherwise you'll use an awful lot of parsley. So once you've done that, and I've got some that I blended earlier, you can see the consistency is quite thick there. And then what you would do to make this into a face mask is you would add in yogurt and stir, mix it in. Around about 2 tablespoons of yogurt should do. And this is just Greek yogurt I've got here. And add to that, I would tend to add a little bit of honey as well, just to add in some more hydration there. Leave that to absorb. And then give it a good old stir. Said it's very cooling and refreshing. So you can either be really mucky and add this onto your face with your fingers, or you can do it with a brush if you want. But can you imagine how cooling that is? If your face is feeling irritated, this is just, I mean, it's feeling wonderful on my hands actually. It's one of the nicest ones I've come across. But I really like that. And the best thing to do is if you've got it on your face, then go and relax somewhere for 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and just close your eyes and relax for a while. And then just make sure that you've got something to wash this off with. And it does come off quite easily. And what you could also do is use some of that toner that you made earlier just to clean off any other bits that are left on there. My hand actually feels wonderful. And then after you've rinsed that off your face, you would just moisturise as normal. But it does leave a very cool and sort of cleansing feel. And if you've got leftovers, I mean, I've got some leftovers here, so I'm definitely going to be using this tomorrow. So if you have got leftovers, make sure you put it into an airtight container, and it will stay in the fridge for about up to a week, and enjoy the refreshing face mask feel that gives to your skin. Right, I'm just going to clear up from this face mask demonstration because I want to move on to making the parsley tea. So I did say to you earlier that I wanted to share with you parsley tea. And this is an unusual one that I came across simply by dabbling when I was doing something else. And I thought, I wonder if that would make a good cup of tea. And it really does. It's really surprisingly refreshing and clear. So just a quick note regarding tea. The tea comes from the Camellia sinensis plant, which contains caffeine. So what we're doing here is not officially known as a tea. What we're doing here is making an infusion, which is a much broader term for steeping plant leaves in hot water, and is generally known as a herbal infusion where you're using parts of the herb or even a plant. But people often refer to these as herbal teas. And these ones are obviously caffeine free, whereas tea is actually has caffeine in it. So what you would do with this, take either a tablespoon of dried parsley, or roughly chop again a bunch of fresh parsley. Or what I like to do is, and I've got some boiling water in here, and what I like to do is just break off some of the nice clean stems. And again, if you are using outdoor parsley, then please make sure it's thoroughly washed. But otherwise, your kitchen windowsill parsley will do absolutely fine. And just pop that in. The other alternative is these wonderful, if you haven't got any teapots around, is these wonderful herbal diffusers, which you can literally just pop in your herbs, and then you would put that into the cup and pour boiling water over that. And then you can add maybe some lemon juice or some honey to taste. So what you would do with this is obviously strain it just in case any of the parsley leaves come through with that. And you can see it's got a real clarity about it. Let's just try this. That is really nice. It's really hard to explain, but it has a real clarity of flavour, a real cleanness about it, which comes from the parsley, and I really enjoy drinking this. Now, for those of you that like a slightly sweeter tea or tea infusion, then obviously you can add a little bit of honey, or actually sometimes just a little bit of lemon juice in there will give you that sweetness that you need. See, that changes the flavour, but still got that clarity and cleanness to the taste, and I find this really quite refreshing. Now, do please note that parsley is a potent herb, so it should be used in moderation. So don't drink loads of this. Obviously, moderation is the key when some of these herbs are quite strong. One of my last suggestions for parsley is that it can be used as a natural mouthwash or breath freshener. It's high in chlorophyll content, and that neutralizes sulfur, which we find in our mouth, and it therefore can reduce bad odors. So you can simply chop some fresh parsley leaves and add that to some distilled water. One suggestion I like is that you can add mint leaves to that as well. And a tablespoon of vodka as well. Strain that mixture and use it as a mouth rinse, but do remember that you mustn't swallow it. So another tip is literally just chewing on parsley. If you feel like you've got that sort of bad odory taste in your mouth, actually chewing on parsley can really refresh your mouth. So there's a couple of extra tips on that. So I hope you have found some of these suggestions useful, and always it's a way of introducing a bit of self-care. I find that my mind, when I do this, is so focused on what I'm doing that it does allow me to relax and makes and helps me feel refreshed and ready to be resilient for the next round of challenges that we face. So thank you for watching.